Hello, Gonky.
Hello, Mover. How are you?
Hello, people of the YouTubes. Welcome back to our show and the podcast, because apparently people watch our podcast. So welcome. We're back.
Doug's with us too. Douglas
and
is here.
Sad. Hello, Douglas. Hello, Douglas. All right. So let's just get right into it. Because why not? I'm sorry.
Why not?
We are sorry. Here, I need to apologize to the people at home. Here we go.
I state my regret.
Yeah. So,
Perfect.
a lot of people angry lately, and it's about with Rick. They're mostly mad about that. A couple of reasons. First off, Rick's awesome, so
He is, dude.
Don't you dare disparage that man. But second, I have a common joke that says that the metric system is commie, and people take that super personally. So I am sorry for offending your preferred unit of measure, but I also ask, name 3 countries that use metric system in aviation. Can you, Gonky? Do you know the 3?
Probably Russia,
North Korea, and China.
Yeah.
So you can take your commie units, and I will take my freedom-loving units.
But here's the thing, dude. When you say commie units, it's just factual. I mean, they're communist countries. You're not being offensive.
The metric system. I don't know. It's the preferred unit of measure to the gulag. Like, you don't go 40 feet to the gulag. You go whatever, 10 meters. Yeah.
You're right.
15 meters or whatever, So
you're making this so much better.
I know. As I have been known to do. That's mover standard. Dig deeper. We also have to apologize because in that same C-57 video, we did not do an in-depth enough analysis. We just read the article and showed Rick one picture. And
yeah, but dude, here's the thing. I mean, for anybody, okay. Yeah, do I want to know everything about the Su-57? Yeah, why not? But it's kind of a secret piece of machinery. You know what I'm saying? And secondly, the whole point of having Rick take a look at it, he's got a trained eye, right? I mean, he's going to see things in the design, and that's what he did. He saw things in the design. He talked about it.
Dude, look at the comments. They're already they're arguing already about the commie. It's perfect. It's just perfect. People get so upset about this. Look, it's awesome.
I've got metric stuff on my motorcycles, and I love it. I've got English stuff on my truck, and I love it.
If you run a 9-second quarter mile at 150 miles an hour, does that sound cooler than I went in kilometers? Like, who cares? I mean,
that's because you're American, mover.
Yeah, American muscle. Take your Porsche. Let's just get I also have to apologize to Wombat. The first part will be just the airing of the grievances. So
I feel like I'm in a Folksville Follies, man. Almost. It's like just airing everything, getting all the dirty
grievances. Yeah. Well, at the end of this, our mental health minute is forgiveness. So
stick around, everybody.
We're gonna bookend the I'm sorry with the forgiveness part. So last show, I may or may not have hinted that Wombat T.R. Mattson may have had a close encounter of the third kind. I can neither confirm nor deny that happened, but I am sorry because UAP Twitter will not leave that poor man alone, and he's very mad at me.
It didn't help. I literally called him immediately. It's like, dude, did you see a UFO?
Yeah. So to Wombat, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Because I don't want to keep digging with Wombat. He's a good people, so I don't want him to be mad at me.
He's over, dude.
He's not.
More funny.
He's never gonna be. He's never gonna be. Because somebody asked him today on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, I heard you were gonna do that." And it does show that the reach of this channel is farther than I expected.
Whatever it takes to get him on Rogan, dude.
Dude, I'm trying to help the man sell some books. His book's 99 cents. Yeah. Which whose book was 99 cents first? Mine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. The old Absolute Vengeance.
Dude, he showed me it's super cool, man. He showed me in one of the like I think it's a Hawkeye Ball video or something like that. Man, they had his book in there, like praising him,
yeah, dude,
which is freaking awesome.
Yeah. There you go. So Aaron says the people angry are people that say aircrafts. And we have an article with that in it. One of the articles that I picked for one of the topics, they say aircrafts. And I'm
careful, Aaron.
Every time it's just like what the chat is still going on about metric. They have started arguing with each other about metric, dude. It's a hot button issue.
You know, here's the thing: a half inch is basically a 12. So can we all be friends? You know?
Is that your favorite unit as a half inch?
No. Well,
what you know the most about?
The 12 is pretty common, and when I don't have one, I grab the half, and it works.
We're talking wrenches. Okay.
Yes.
10 millimeter. Dude.
Oh,
That's the one that disappears. Douglas.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to weigh in? Make somebody mad at you?
I do metric to inch conversions in my head all the time, so I'm just comfortable no matter what.
You're better than me.
Yeah.
I need the Googles for that.
Google or just don't, whatever. All right, man. Your topic today is Marines deactivate FA-18s.
Yeah.
With your data.
That 101. I didn't know if we were going to look at the article or not. Sorry, Doug. You got it. We're all over the place.
Go, man.
God, you're going to have to do an I'm sorry to Doug now.
Doug, I'm sorry. I went around your helmet.
Man, I talk for a living. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, dude. You're much better than me. I will comment on your comment.
Well, apparently the Marines had a formation of, since we're dealing with measurement units, what is this one right here? 18 aircraft?
It's a cloider. Is that what it is? A gaggle?
It's a guerrilla.
That's all the flyable aircraft in the entire United States Marine Corps. Every upjet that they had. Hornet.
They officially deactivated FA-18 Hornet Marine Fighter Attack Training Squadron 101, VMFAT 101. It's continuing its transition of mission to flying to the F-15. Wow, I can't talk tonight, Gonky. I'm sorry. The F-35 Lightning II, they had a Flying the Barn event with synchronized 18 FA-18s overhead at Miramar. And they've been qualifying combat pilots since 1969. Do you guys know what Flying the Barn is?
Nope, I've never heard of that.
But I do appreciate the use of 69. So
yeah, that was good.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, that was
your turn.
Is that the whole thing? Gonky, this is your topic. So
yeah, I just wanted to bring it up. I mean, it's like it's a legacy Hornet, but it's like the end of a legacy, right? So
you better start analyzing, or else people will be mad.
Yeah, no, 18. I mean, there's 18. Count them. I think. I don't know. That might be a foul footage, but no, it's kind of sad, right? Another closure of a chapter of, marine aviation, naval aviation, or really for me, it's sad because I love the Legacy Hornet. It's my first combat jet. It'll always be my baby. But MFAT 101 was actually the desired RAG or FRS for a lot of guys because it was in Miramar. So you could either go Virginia Beach, Lemoore, or Miramar.
See, I was going to ask that because I kind of micronapped that whole thing.
Yeah, of course.
Those were the dudes that we trained with when I did the missile shoot.
Yes.
And they were cool.
Yeah, exactly. So it primarily, I mean, as a Marine squadron. So they trained, I think that's the only place they trained Marine Wizzos for the deep.
I was just going to ask you that. Is that the place that they had it was like a change of command and the Wizzo skipper was in the back and something happened? They did a flyover or something and got
in trouble.
Yeah, FNAB'd.
I want to say yes, but there's been a lot of stories that are real similar to that.
If our producer were too busy counting airplanes, he might be able to Google that for me with his mouse.
I'm sorry. What did you need? It's 18.
Thank you for that.
But yeah, so I mean, as a student, it was kind of like if you got VMFAT 101, you kind of won the lottery, and then as an IP, even so, I had buddies who went there as a student, and then when it was time for their IP tour, they went to Miramar as instructors. So we had a cadre of Marine F-18 instructors at Navy Lemoore, and there was a small cadre of Navy instructors down at MCAS Miramar. So like you said, Mover, we got a little bit of exposure operating out of there doing missile shoot, but it's just kind of sad, right? I mean, I think now the legacy, there's no more. I don't think even 106 is doing it anymore. I think all the legacy Hornet training B courses or rags are now closed, which is sad for me, for Gonky.
More sad for Mover than Gonky,
Well, when you crossed over from the Air Force, did they give you a choice on where to go get your qual in the Hornet? Because you went to 106, right?
I had no choice in location, quantity, or quality.
All right.
I was just told to show up at 106, and Douglas, I sent you
and be
the
happy.
article.
I'm checking
it was
I do
video. You got the video. F-18 flyover cost a Miramar squadron commander his job and likely his career.
Yeah, I remember that. But again,
that's the Wizzo, though. He was in the back seat. Hit play.
Do you want to see that?
Oh yeah.
See, it's mad at me. There we go.
When was this?
Good job, Smurf. Yeah. Did he roll? Is that what just happened?
I don't see anything wrong with that flyover.
Did he roll? Is that what? Wait.
Too low. Fast. Wow.
No,
dude.
he didn't even. Oh my God. Why would you get in trouble for that?
And this is why we have recruiting issues, Mover. We'll get to that. But yeah, that to me, that doesn't look too low or fast at all. But I don't know.
Views are our own and do not represent the DoD or
Correct.
its components because
we know nothing.
We don't know anything.
No.
But yeah, very sad. Sorry to hear that. But they're going to move on to Fat Amy, right? That's the plan.
Yeah.
Obese Amelia.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay, that's what the article says.
Battle Penguin. All right. Well, we've beaten the horse.
F-35 Lightning II. Yep.
Don't fly it near lightning. That's all I can say. Our next topic. Well, let's see what the kids at home say while Douglas prepares.
I'm prepared.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
thanks, Adam.
Hold on. We're just. I thought you were going to apologize because there are no guests and we're stuck with you. Only two.
That's right, man.
What you need. That's all you need. Even though Gonky's not wearing the approved shirt.
That's why they're called guests.
Is Adam trying to tell us something with his profile picture?
I'm not going to comment because my views are my own.
Yeah, Adam also. He's
Adam,
back.
thanks again.
Yeah, dude. I mean, at least he's contributing.
These are good. These are good questions.
That's not a question. None of these are questioned. What's metric for 6.9 inches?
17 and a half centimeters.
Dang.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I Googled it.
This guy reads from a card. All right, Douglas, hit it.
So, as predicted by its leaders, the U.S. Navy has missed its recruiting goals for fiscal year 2023 by a wide mark, according to Navy Recruiting Command. They brought in 30,200 enlisted active duty sailors which is 7,500 people short of its goal. Also missed target for Navy Reserve by 1,000 people. For active duty, recruitment fell short. For officers, fell short by 508 people, 500 and 800 respectively. So 500 for active duty and 800 for reserve. Made every attempt to attract new applicants, including incentives, $35,000 bonus for shipping out quickly. Retention side, high year tenure upper out has been eased and re-enlistment bonuses have been increased. They are up against a trifecta of challenges. Less than a quarter of Americans of prime recruitment age meet the requirements to serve in uniform. I wonder specifically what they're missing. Those who do qualify have plenty of employment options to choose from because the civilian job market is stronger than it has been in years. They're setting a higher target for fiscal year 2024, though.
Perfect.
That's
the answer to
typical
your
bureaucracy.
question is obesity. It's not what they're missing; it's what they have too much of.
100%.
There's not enough physically qualified people.
Yeah.
I mean, even the skinny kids can't run.
Yeah. Like, Mover speaks from experience.
Yeah, I don't want to, just in case. But yeah,
yeah.
Anyway,
no, it's
Gonky,
sad. Dude. Well, yeah, it's we've talked about it before, and we poke fun at at leadership, but at the end of the day, I truly think it's leadership or a lack thereof. And honestly, not just in the service. I mean, you hit on it, man. I mean, what obesity is a real thing. That starts in the home, right? So, I mean, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if you can't fix it. The Marines, I think, I think the Marines is the only branch that achieved their recruiting goals, and I just think it's because the Marines attract a certain kind of person. That person is usually fit fitter.
Well, I mean, it's not like, so a friend of mine, a friend of the channel actually, told me because I took my PT test this weekend and was talking about the old Air Force Reserve PT test before the bike. So everybody knows about the bike. But the old Air Force Reserve PT test. Have you ever heard of it? You know what it was?
The one where they see how quickly your heart rate comes back down?
No, that's the bike. This one was they would walk 3 miles and there was no time. They just would walk, and then at the halfway point, they'd get something to drink, and then they'd walk back. And it was a 3-mile total thing. And that was their PT test. Pre 9/11.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying, fitness isn't important. Obviously, it's very important, especially, but I think it should be job focused. I mean, I think it like a cyber dude does not need to be able to run. I mean, dude, if it's at the point where the travel voucher guy is needing to run, it's too late. You're done.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, that's why the Marines, right? Every Marine's a rifleman.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it don't matter if you're pushing paper. You're still expected to be able to pick up that rifle and fight. I just.
But on a ship.
Yeah, I mean, man, if the ship catches on fire, and I mean, if all hell breaks loose on the ship, I mean, being in shape, especially if you're young, I just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advocating for being out of shape. I'm just saying that it needs to be specific to the career field. I know it obesity and stuff. I mean, now you're talking healthcare costs and how much time you spend at the clinic, and not able to do your job. The real answer is these kids aren't interested.
So, yeah. So, man, way back in 2008, I did a tour where I helped the Army out, and they actually sent us to Army training, which was actually pretty fun. And we had we had Army drill instructors teach us how to shoot and like do land nav and stuff. And I was just talking with them, and I just said, "Hey, how's the new recruits?" And he said, even in 2008, he said, "We're just seeing an increase in shin splints and guys and gals who just can't get through the training because they have grown up sitting on the couch playing video games, and they're basically their bodies, like you're saying, even the skinny kids, their bodies aren't developed. Like, they're the muscle.
You're not running when you're young enough to develop that stuff.
No, kids aren't. I mean, I ran around like a wild animal, until I literally passed out when I was a kid. But, that kind of, that just, builds a foundation for health and fitness. And he said, we're not seeing that. And he's like, it's a real problem. And that was 2008. And I know it's even more now. I mean, that's before really smartphones were kicking off. And I watch kids walk. Kids don't even look where they're walking anymore, man. Like, I watch them go to the school bus in the morning, and it's like, they walk like this. I mean, it's crazy.
But if you really want to get off my lawn level, kids these days, military life is not conducive to the way kids are growing up in the technological world.
No.
You don't, the freedom, the,
No.
lack of responsibility, the lack of, authority, or respect of authority. I mean, we live in a world where, by and large, we have created this tolerance of, hey, it's like the anti-cop thing, the anti-establishment, anti-authority stuff, but it's not like it was in the 70s,
Right.
where it was like peace and love. This is almost militant.
Yep.
I am not going to let the man keep me down. And in some ways that's really good, in the libertarian front of that, it's fine. But in some ways also, society needs structure.
Yeah.
We need to have at least some level of rules. We need to have some, somebody to enforce the law, somebody to uphold standards. And when you get told your entire life that you are special, you can do whatever you want, you're not accountable for anything that you do, then you get to the military and, well, guess what? That's all it is.
Yeah, not everybody gets a trophy, and unfortunately, people
Right.
find that out pretty late in life. And I wasn't raised perfect, of course, but I learned pretty early on not everyone gets a trophy.
Well, I mean, the whole point of the military is to strip individualism from you and to make you a cog in the machine.
Yep.
And we pull together, we win together. And
break it down.
you spend your whole life being told I'm unique and I'm special, and then you go to this organization that says you're absolutely not, and you're all equally worthless. And what is that from Lee Army, from Full Metal Jacket? But
yeah, it crushes their world because that's all they know.
It's not an appealing thing. And on the other side too, we're doing a horrible job, and by we I mean they, of demonstrating the cool part about it.
Yeah.
We do not connect with the potential candidates. We do not do a good job of showing them the job, showing them why it's better to do it this way and why it's worth doing. Whether that's temporarily because you'll get some skills and have a career path that'll set you up for life, or whether it's a long-term 20-year career. We are not doing a good job going to reach out using the available methods of social media and find them where they are and appeal to them.
Not to get us canceled, but their advertising campaigns are not targeting the correct people.
It's atrocious. No, it's atrocious.
Exactly.
It's atrocious.
I mean, when I was a kid, the Navy commercials, Tomcats launching off the ship.
Tomcats.
I mean, like the Navy SEALs like disappearing into the water. I mean, I'm like, oh, dude, where do I sign forever?
But that's exactly what, for, almost 20 years, the Navy did well. Because everybody, when GoPros started being, even the old VHS tapes, cruise videos, dude, look at how many kids were inspired by, because Top Gun, there's this big gap. So you either had Top Gun or cruise videos until the Top Gun Maverick came out. And you had this huge void, but you could go on, YouTube, even if it's in its infancy, and watch cruise videos. You could watch dudes with their GoPros. You could watch, Wingnut. What was it? Wingwick?
Wingnut.
Dude, he made some cinematic videos that were just cool.
Really good.
And it was like a competition of who could make better videos. I mean, I enjoyed watching them. And a year or two ago, they said, hey, no more. And the problem is, instead of embracing this, and instead of going, hey, we've got something special here that we can take advantage of, let's set some guidelines and work together, because we realize what a good tool this is from every level, not just flying jets, but think about anything you do, right? Gonky, you're probably a big example of this. Let's say you want to change the headers on your RV. Do you go to YouTube and watch a video?
Yes.
Let's say, I'm serious. I mean, we're on YouTube right now, so I'm a little biased, but let's say you are, wanting to know what a lifestyle is like.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to go watch the propaganda that we're talking about the same people who have been anti-establishment for a lot of the time, so they don't trust it, but they do trust another kid in uniform or somebody else who's just saying, yeah, this part kind of sucks, but this part's awesome. Honesty, being upfront and genuine because people see right through it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
to me, it's about presentation, and that's all.
yeah, you're right. They're doing a pretty poor job of basically selling it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there used to be ads in the magazines. I mean, the F-15 going straight up kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. It's more than one thing for sure. But the trajectory is a little concerning.
So I usually don't pull from the audience here, but I would like this explained to me. What big picture am I missing? I'll wait.
Dude, it's France's channel.
Lighten up, Francis.
It's France's channel.
No, I'm serious. Explain this to me. What am I missing here? What is the big picture?
I don't think
that I'm missing.
You're not missing anything because we're in it. We see it.
Yeah.
Like that's honestly part of the reason why Mover really started to make them tell he's like, we've invested in this YouTube channel is to try to promote, what the military can do, mainly the flying side, because that's what we know and that's what we think is cool.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, and Mover will tell you we run into some headwinds. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But a lot of people, I get emails all the time, and a lot of people say what resonates with them is the fact that it's genuine.
Yeah, 100%.
That it's. I mean, you get the good with the bad, and I think that as great as the fancy commercials are and everything, and let's make it look like a Michael Bay movie, dude. People want to know the truth. People want to know, how is this going to help me long term? Like, for example, you got a shortage of jet engine mechanics, right? Well, okay, let's explain to people that you come do this job and now you're set up for the airlines. You're set up to go be a mechanic making $200 or $150 shop rate an hour. I mean, dude, you just have to educate that, hey, college is expensive, but hey, we can teach you a skill. We can teach you something that can be useful, and we can pay for your college on top of that. You'll come out of this with a top secret clearance that will take you anywhere. There's so much that it has to offer beyond just serving your country, which I still think is a very important thing to emphasize.
Oh, yeah.
So we got the cop out. He's going to email me, and I'm not going to read it tonight. So this conversation is pretty much over. But I'm not missing the big picture. The big picture is we have to provide able-bodied Americans to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And we have to do a better job of engaging with qualified applicants. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And there's one more facet of it is like the people that are in, like the moms and dads that are in, like, I'm not totally convinced that, all the commands take care of their people because, there's, especially if you want your mom and dad, if they served, to encourage you to. My dad served and he encouraged me to serve. I mean, that's what you want, right? That's and I'm not in this article, but I read in another article where that's not happening. They did a poll and people who have served, have kids, are now telling their kids, don't go in the military.
Absolutely. And that goes back to what you've said, the leadership. You take care, and it's all aspects. It's civilian job. You wonder why American, not American, but American U.S. airlines are ranked so much lower than foreign airlines because of customer service. And customer service is a function of employee relations and how you treat your people and how you treat, the forward-facing people are a reflection of the people behind them. And so if you don't treat people well and you don't lead them, they will, number one, do a pretty mediocre job. And then number two, they're not going to come back. They're not going to tell people to come do this. They're going to say, hey, guess what? They burned me. And here's how they burned me. No ever do that.
Right.
I mean, many people have told me offline, like, hey, dude, I don't know why you do this given what your history. But overarching to me is it's bigger than me. It's bigger than any one of us. It's bigger than any of this because the country is more important than my personal program. So,
well, you love your country, right? Regardless
and
of
that's what
what's
I'm
going
saying.
on
So
with
it doesn't
leadership.
matter what happened to me. It
Right.
doesn't matter. It does not matter. You know, I mean, we'll talk about forgiveness here in a little bit, but it doesn't matter because the important thing is that when I'm 80 years old, there's still a country.
Yeah.
We still
exactly.
have freedom.
And we
you
need
know?
young guys and girls who are fit, able-bodied, and willing
Exactly.
to if you want to call it a sacrifice 4 years of your life, whatever, to serve your country. Because, dude, you know as well as I do, you learn from serving, right? It's
100%.
it's super easy to be in receive mode all the time. That'll turn you into a
Yes.
spoiled little brat. But if you serve something, and the military is one example, but if you serve something, dude, like you gain a new appreciation for what it is, which in our case, America, our country, and any, I know we got viewers from all over the world. You should be, when I was with the Malaysians, man, I'd tell them all, you guys need to be proud of your country. They were always like, oh, compared to America. I'm like, no. You guys have something special here that we don't have in the States. Like, it's one of the reasons why I'm here. I love it. Right. So, I mean, you got to be proud of your country, and hopefully there's young, men and women who are able to just continue to protect that.
Yeah. And we stand on the shoulders of those that have gone before us. I mean, look at the sacrifice people made the greatest generation, World War II, World War One. Look at, guys I've had on the channel, even Vietnam, it's an unpopular war, but those dudes didn't care. They were asked by their country to go do something, and they did it. And, if it doesn't, I know, people, we've gotten away from, hey, we need to appreciate the fact that we're in a great country, but it's your country. I mean, move, if you go to a country you love, if you don't love it here, or make it better, be the change you want to see. And I tell the same thing with law enforcement, exactly what you just said. Helping somebody else makes you feel better. It makes you a better person. And if that's not why you're doing the job, then you don't need to be doing it. If that's not your motivation for doing it, you're in the wrong profession, because it is, stupidly dangerous. But it's serving your community, just like the military.
Candy said it best, man. Ask, not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? That's very, I mean, that's a patriot's mindset, in my opinion.
Yep. We got
and
a whole
just
bunch
my
of
opinion, just our opinion.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say for legal reasons. It's a joke, because I'm not kidding. I believe what I say. I wish that I could say it with a third act that was like, hey, and then they took care of me and I was flying all these jets. That's not my story. But
yeah.
No, dude.
Yet.
Ooh,
Don't self-eliminate, mover.
Yeah, I have. So anyway, Mike, thank you for that.
Thanks, Mike.
$2 is $2. Aaron, hey, Ron, you done messed up. Hey, Ron, he's the spy guy. Do you think with all the legacy Hornets retired, will there be a shortage of flyable F-35s for pilot training? No, I don't. Garrett says, and thank you, yet the Marines made their recruiting goals.
Okay, yeah. I thought they did.
Yeah.
I think they're the only one.
Did the Marines shoot low, or do you think it's because of their dress blues? In my opinion, they're the sharpest of the services.
I agree, Adam. They are sharp. I remember being in college. You're like, man, I don't care who takes me, but the Marine uniform looks pretty good.
Are you trying to date a Marine, Gonky? Is that what you're trying to?
No, dude. The uniform, bro. Yeah. I don't know if they shot low, or I think they just hit the target.
I think it takes a different mentality. Like 100%. I think the people that are doing that already are kind of switched on from that point. It's the Air Force and the Navy are the ones you have to convince, because it's like, hey, I could go sit in a cubicle here, or I can go sit in a cubicle here, but they don't realize there's more to it than that. They get this mentality that the Air Force is the chair force and all that stuff. But dude, I just had a meeting this weekend from our security forces guys. Dude, they're not checking IDs. They're the guys, when the C-130 lands, they set up a base defense.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's their entire job to set up like an austere environment-based defense, and these dudes, you talk to them and they were just like operators, TAC-Ps and stuff that you talk to. I mean, they're
Wow.
like, they're no nonsense. Like, dude, you got the like, hey, these guys are high speed, so there's a lot of misunderstanding about what people do and the jobs. And I think it's just about education and reaching out.
Pretty much like in high school, it's like, oh, do you know so-and-so went to the Marines? I'm like, yeah, I could, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, since about grade school, I could see that. So,
and then Maxim says, I can't stick around for long today. Nevertheless, wanted to support the cause. Thank you, gentlemen. Keep up the great work. Thank you,
thanks,
Maxim.
man.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the
I love
combination of
it.
my luggage.
I love it.
Garrett says the
Very
Marines are
good.
the
Thanks.
only branch that appeals to the audience that wants to join the military. The Army and the Air Force screw themselves from an active duty perspective.
Yeah, I think you're at least partially mostly right.
I mean, dude, we could anchor on this forever. I mean, it's a philosophical thing that people much smarter than us are trying to figure out right now.
There's more than one issue going on here.
Yeah.
Ote
says 33-year-old licensed private pilot, want to serve. I love aviation. Need age waiver, but I'm fit. United States Navy officer recruiter says with my PPO, good ASTB score, I'm in. OCS wait times plus 10-year commitment equals done at 45. Too old. Nah.
You're not too old.
Anywhere. You can get them family anywhere in there.
Well, I see what he's saying. I mean, I quit active duty because I wanted to start a family. I see what you're saying, man. I mean, I got started late in life, 40 when I had my first kid. So that's just something you're going
to. I give up, actually. They've told me no, and the answer is no. So
don't self-eliminate. Honestly, I would, you're just going to have to weigh the pros and cons with that. I mean, I'd say if you're not married now or not in a serious relationship, I'd keep going. You'll figure it out.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is a perfect example. I was reading something earlier, Doug, you're smarter than this and you can chime in, but it's almost like the age of adolescence and the age of, as everything has shifted to the right. So like we're teenagers in our 20s
25
now.
Is the new 15.
Exactly. So but I'm saying, people are figuring out, hey, I want to go be a fighter pilot at 33. They're not doing it at 23 like we did, I mean, or 22. Hell, I was earlier than that, but they're figuring this out later in life, and we're moving that direction, but we're still not there. So, it may be worth reassessing, even though physically, I mean, so you've got two clocks, right? Your age of maturity, but then your body is still aging at the exact same. We haven't figured out that fountain of youth, because 9Gs at 35 is not 9Gs at 25 or 45.
Very
or
true.
7Gs, you know what I'm saying? So we do need to look at the more experienced age groups because there's a lot to offer there.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in pilot training, old man McSwain was 28 and he was an AC-130 gunner. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a badass and we called him, old man, say something for the American people, as our Italian guy would say. But like 28 now you're a baby. You don't know anything.
Yeah. Dude, I wouldn't, take a look at your situation, pros and cons, and then, go with what your gut tells you. And, like we were saying, you can have a family while you're serving, but, if it's something that's hey, no way, I'm not going to do that. Then maybe it is too late. But if, if you're indifferent, just, or you could go to the guard. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's always, I mean, yeah, exactly. If you want to go Navy, and you're indifferent, do it.
Tom P says, my buddy just became a drill and told they have to feed newcoming SMs calcium bars because they didn't touch grass growing up. Well, thanks, Tom. But
we laugh, but it's, that's sad if it's true. I mean,
it is. But you know what, though? It is our responsibility to adapt. We can't just make fun of this, right? Because you can't turn around and even though it's fun to go, hey, this generation's weak, that's it. They're the ones we need. So we
Yeah.
have to figure out a way to make this work and still be a capable, competent, fit fighting force. You know,
Drones.
if we have to put them, yeah. Well, if we have to put them in the Captain America. Although, did you see where the SEALs were juicing and they're like, you can't juice because it's an unfair advantage. It's like, dude, they're not competing in the Olympics. They're going to go kill bin Laden. Let them juice. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, give them more juice.
Yeah. Give them all the juices. Whatever. Zippers Forever says we got the Muppet Gallery. Zipper. He's a cool guy. Was he A6? We were talking about that last time, right? He was a TAC P type. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I'm enjoying this conversation, dude. I think we're solving the world's problems here. Connor says, and thank you, Connor. I'm 23, grew up in the video game crowd. I've noticed that many of my peers are very intelligent, but self-eliminate with physical requirements because they weren't in sports cliques. And I have said that since I started this channel. In fact, that's where Make Them Tell You No came from, because I told my story and people started like, well, wait a minute. I thought you had to have glasses. I thought you had to be an astronaut. I thought you had to have this. What do you mean you're just an average dude that just made it work? And that's where it came from, because the younger generations,
young adults.
It is because I think because we're such an instant gratification focused society. As soon as it doesn't work, we move on to the next thing, because that's how our brain's programmed now.
It's the dopamine hit, man.
Yeah, and so when it takes a little bit of adversity to get through, it's like, well, I mean, I could go do that, or this is just as cool and whatever. But I think the video game generation is actually better at what we're doing now, warfighting wise, and should be the ones doing this, because they're the ones that can go work the ESA and work the sensors and keep the SA, because they're doing it. They're doing it with all the games they're doing, the fast twitch, all that stuff. They're doing this. We just have to get that mentality and get the physical part and the mental toughness there.
Yeah. No, you got a point, man. I mean, look, I remember as an IP, like the generation of fighter pilots I taught were smarter than us. And I coming out of the fleet from the latest and greatest, going back to the FRS as an IP, I thought there would be a throttle back, but they actually pushed it up quite a bit with especially the air-to-air stuff. And like, I just remember, especially the Super Hornet, when I got into that thing, man, the students were so sharp. And they were, that was probably that was the millennial generation I was teaching.
Well, one of the cool things, with my new job, I've had the opportunity is to interact with people that I wouldn't normally interact with, right? I mean, so you're a fighter pilot, you hang out with the operations and stuff. And I have met, junior enlisted folks that, are like, oh, I'm calm on the weekend because I'm a reservist, but I'm in vet school, or I'm getting my certification to be, advanced programming and stuff. Like, there are some really smart people that are joining and doing this, and it's just capturing that. That's the, it's finding that. But I mean, dude, the level of intelligence hasn't gone down. I mean, these people are super bright. And I think if you if you learn to communicate and you learn to go, hey, here's the truth. Some of it's going to suck. You're not going to like it, but the payoff in the end, here's what you get. And here's what you do, and teaching people that you get because you give. That's very hard to. I think it took me a while to figure it out. I mean, if you actually gain more by doing for others and doing for something bigger than yourself than you do by just trying to hoard resources.
Yep. Yeah. If you don't give, you're not going to get, man. It's a law
very
of the
rewarding,
and it's in the Bible, but never mind.
Yeah, well, we got that on the voice message. I don't know if we're going to get to that one tonight. Douglas, how do you say this?
Yossarian.
Nice. I like it.
And the rest?
It's a reference to Catch-22. Yossarian lives. I'm not sure. I think he's got a bunch of things crammed together there, like Yossarian 9 Lives tech. But Yossarian is a character in Catch-22. He's the main character.
Yossarian I lives.
Just call him YT.
Anyway, thank you for that, by the way. Did cap as a kid. Wish I had done more with it, more flights. Ended up deciding I wasn't interested in the service, but I think these types of organizations are underutilized for recruitment. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, if in a perfect world, right, to me, it would be, how do you say it, Doug? Ab initio? Where you, in a perfect world, if you funneled the funding to the Civil Air Patrol, and because they do it to some extent, right? You can get your private pilot's license through that. But if you said, hey, you know, local kids, here's your Cessna, get everybody trained, and we're going to be a flow through pipeline to your pilot slot. You know, start them in high school as soon as they're eligible. And if you had the money, because then you're reaching the underprivileged kids that can't afford, because dude, flying is expensive.
Dude, or even for maintainers. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you bring a real airplane in. Yeah, you bring a real airplane
in. Absolutely. Write that down, Gonky. Next time the boss asks us what we're going to do, that's our plan.
Wait, I thought I was the boss.
Oh, that's right. I'll write it down, sir.
Yes.
Next time you ask me
good answer.
What I'm supposed to do. Doug, write that down.
I haven't used pencil and paper for like 25 years.
Wow.
Type it somewhere. D. Stu says, never doubt that your service meant and means something honorable to the USA. Yeah. I mean,
thank you.
Whether you pay with your time, your life, your body, you're sacrificing.
Yep.
More TACB love, please. Okay. Yeah. TACBs are awesome, man. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I respect the hell out of them. I wrote about them in the book. First few books, one of the characters was a TACB. Diane says, for Halloween, I give kids plastic planes and pilot rubber duckies. Some are getting Gonky's coloring books this year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I hope they enjoy them. I hope they're good.
John says there's a super sticker. Thanks, John.
Thanks,
appreciate that. Roadhammer's got a cool name. $2 Canadian.
Cool.
Let's get some Tim Hortons. Aaron Fran says recruiters should start younger. By high school age, people are already too out of shape. Hook people when they are young enough to form new habits. Now, I don't think we need to go around with a van that says free candy, but maybe.
Listen, fixing the kid thing. I mean, we'll get a little off track, but that's a parental thing. I have young kids like today. Hey, you're not leaving the dinner table until you eat those carrots and potatoes, dude. So, I mean, that's a parental thing. You learn those habits from your parents.
But that is a good point. It is about shaping. All right. So I remember as a kid, in fact, I've got a picture somewhere. I'll eventually I've posted it. So I've got pictures of me at museums in like helicopters, sitting in cockpits. And then there's a picture of me at the Lafayette Air Show in a Thunderbird, like a mini Thunderbird, you know, and I've got the same picture of me in a real F-16, 20 years later. It's not about reaching the kids to like what this is saying, where reach the kids and, change their habits, but you can light that fire early. And that goes back to air shows are not accessible like they used to be anymore. I mean, we're bringing them to crowded cities, it's not what it was, but you can still get the technology to them. You can still cool videos, you can still explain, hey kids, this is, the F-22, this is the F-35, there are ways to light that fire early on.
Yeah, like with coloring books. I mean, shameless plug.
But that is a good point.
I mean, that's why I made him, because my kid, he loves fighter jets, and
how many kids want to be a Paw Patrol or whatever? How many kids want to do? I mean, I'd like to be a Blue Heeler because of Bluey. I mean,
right.
Thanks for the detailed answer. Or age mover and Gonky Gut says yes. Seeing officer recruiter again on Wednesday. Girlfriend supports. Alas, only child equals mom bickering.
Well,
sounds really familiar. This question sounds a lot like what I've heard for the last week or more.
good.
You
It's
guys
good to
should
think
just
it
talk
through.
offline. Oh, look, it's the 93.
Modman.
Modman says
Oh,
I got a pilot slot in 93 via FROTC, lost it in 94 due to military cutback. Sad I didn't make it, but would never forgive myself if I didn't make it until you know. Yeah, and sometimes that's the answer.
yeah.
Sometimes
and
it is.
probably life turned out just fine.
Yeah. Connor says, perfect point with instant gratification. I got into weightlifting at 17, and many of my non-sports video games peers did not stick with lifting fitness because they didn't see results after 2 weeks. Yep. Okay, dude, we are back on topic. Where are we? Oh, it's me.
Yeah, what topic or what?
It's me. It's me.
Oh, yeah. Here we
It's
go.
me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. I forgot to even do this. So hold on. Let me, oh, Douglas got it. Look at Douglas go.
Douglas, just take it.
Make sure you highlight the aircrafts.
The aircrafts? Oh, yeah, here they are. I see that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So an F-18 got close to a citation in Austin, and the F-18 or the citation took evasive action after receiving an onboard alert. The FAA will determine how close the two aircrafts got to each other as part of its ongoing investigation. This article interviews someone named Mike Slack, who is a managing partner at Slack Davis Sanger, and I've been going through this article trying to figure out why that matters, and I missed it.
I didn't figure it out either.
Yeah, I guess it's because he's an aviation litigator and a pilot, and he references the different languages and different radio frequencies, both, which is an interesting point. The military pilots are using different jargon and different frequencies.
Not all the time. We'll get to that, though.
It's the third close call at Austin this year, and there was a close call with a FedEx Cargo and a Southwest, and then there was another airline that we may have heard of down here.
Alley Giant.
Alley Giant. The Alley Giant folks. They they came too close to a small plane while landing. So they had a safety summit, and they're going to fix it.
Okay, so I've got one for you. This one is actually, I found this after I wanted that one because it says aircrafts and it was stupid. But Flying Magazine actually did a little bit more in depth, and this is really what we're going to talk about. So it was a Marine Hornet, and they were in the area, and it says radio traffic revealed that the citation had been cleared to land as the Hornet approached. Okay, let's get the mental picture here. The Hornet was cleared to execute the brake. Right, we know what that is. So it's the 180-degree turn, and then you're downwind, and another 180-degree turn to land. And the air traffic controller expressed surprise at the F-18's descent, and another voice on tape added, "That'd have been nice to know, guy." So they're getting a little feisty with each other. According to the WAPO, after landing, the Hornet pilot asked for a phone number to contact ATC, and the controller replied, "Yeah, I was going to give you a number here because I guess there was a miscommunication. I misunderstood what was requested, I guess." Which, by the way, you can call all day long. It's not going to go very far. According to the FAA, they said that he overflew runway 18 left when a Piper PA-28 was preparing for takeoff. He was in the area and stopped for fuel. So it doesn't say, did they start on 18 right? Why did they say... Okay, I'm a little confused here, and this is why I'm confused, because look how far the runways are apart. You ever landed at Austin? No. Okay, so it sounds like, because I've been here, and we've taken Hornets here. Actually, I've taken Hornets here. I've taken airliners here. I've been here all different flavors because it's a good place to land and get lunch, and cross country or whatever. So it sounds like, barring anything else, where he says overflew 18 left where he's preparing, dude, that's standard, right? So he comes up initial, so 18 left, hits somewhere around the numbers, brakes. Of course he's going to overfly a dude that's taking off. That's standard. That's a military thing. We do it all the time. I don't know about the descent, but that citation must have been somewhere. For a standard carrier brake, right, you start 800 feet, you descend 600 feet, and then you're 450 around, which is different than what the Air Force does, which is a 1,500-foot brake, and off the perch is where you descend.
Well, so in the Navy and the Marines, when you ask for the brake, it's 1,500 feet.
Okay.
If you ask for the carrier and they say yes, then you bring it down.
Do you descend if you ask for the break?
What do you
Do
mean?
those guys do they descend? Is it a descending turn?
I mean, it's a visual maneuver. So your VMC,
right? But a normal break in a Hornet, when you break, do you maintain level or do you descend? Okay. So I don't know where they're saying, hey, he shouldn't have descended, but it sounded like the citation guy, because what happens with these civilian airplanes, this happens all the time. We'll give them an RA because of the rapid rate of descent we're doing. I mean, I've climbed into the bozosphere and you give the tanker an RA because, the dude didn't, we didn't turn it off or whatever because of the high rates of this climbing and descent and stuff like that. But it sounds like it's just a miscommunication. And if the other guy wasn't here, it was because they were on UHF because they've got. So what happens for those that don't know, we have a uniform frequency, UHF, ultra high frequency, and then VHF frequencies because we have two radios. And ARC 210s can actually do either on either of them. Yep. But typically we like to do UHF because we don't want to hear all the, we don't want to hear any traffic in the area. Please advise. I'm setting shut up, dude. We want to hear, yeah, because you talk too much. Just shut up. Just shut it. And so what happens though is what the controllers will do is they'll simulcast. So they'll have a tower frequency that's UHF and VHF, and they'll just hit the button and they're talking both of them at the same time. So the controller is hearing both of you. You are hearing the controller, but anybody else off frequency is not hearing.
Yeah. I mean, I've I've got a little bit of experience in kind of everything you're talking about. So I got a similar thing happened to me once. I flew a Hornet in Akron, and when I landed, I asked for their phone number to call them because what they did was, and I was in the habit of, when I was flying in the civilian fields, I wanted to hear all the local yokels, so I would always run VHF so I could hear.
Right.
And so I'm coming in Akron, Canton. I'm flying from Oceana Hornet to see my parents because that's the closest airport I get to my home there. And I asked them, I was like, hey, could I get the overhead? They cleared me for the overhead. So I also started rapid descent out of altitude. And then I said, hey, can I get the carrier brake? And they said, clear for the carrier brake. So, man, I'm coming into the field and I'm accelerating to 350 knots. And literally as I'm passing about 325, the controller just keys the mic and he's like, how fast are you going? I said, I'm accelerating to 350. I'm at 325. And he's like, are you aware of the 205 knot airspeed? I mean, he just started reading like, I'm literally coming into the break, and like he gets done yelling at me. And not to hate on regional guys, but they're no longer in business anymore, but some Masaba regional piece of crap taxiing, and he's like, don't you know what the FARs are? And I'm, dude, if I had rounds in the gun, he would have been just a smoking hole. I was so mad. So anyways, I come into the break, 324 knots, whatever it is, and I land and I call him. I was like, hey man, what's the phone number of the tower? And basically what it was, it's not a joke.
Well, basically the gun part, that's
that part is a joke.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
But basically I was like, they asked me like, why were you going so fast? I said, why did you clear me for the carrier? And I said, and furthermore,
you're lucky I wasn't going faster.
Well, I knew, I was like, I'll just do 350 because I don't want to get in trouble, which is what we're supposed to do. And I said, listen, do not clear any pointy nose tactical aircraft for the overhead brake and expect them to do 200 knots because these planes don't fly at that speed.
Oh, dude. Well, and there's an argument, and there's a reason that NATOPS and Dash 1 are very specific about that because of the AOA.
Yeah.
You have no over-the-nose visibility. Your best over-the-nose visibility is 350 knots.
Well, and, oh, by the way, you're very maneuverable. So if you need to maneuver, you can. If you're doing 200 knots, dude, and someone's in your way and you pull back on the stick, you're still going to hit them.
And you say that, and I'm wondering, like, when they're like, the citation had to make evasive maneuvers, which is like,
yeah.
I mean, what does he do? Like,
so that's the other thing. So the other time I had a little run-in with ATC. I was in a brand new Super Hornet AESA radar, and
nice.
I go blasting off out of NES Lemoore. And this time it was my fault a little bit. And I wasn't, my wingman was in a Legacy Hornet, and he, like, on takeoff, he's like, "Oh, okay, I've got a half air D grade, a left AMAT, I got a right AMAT." Like, he just starts, and I'm just like,
I have all the cautions.
yeah, like, I'm like, okay. And so, like, I'm trying to help him, and I think we're supposed to level off at 10,000, and I was screaming, right? And so,
yeah, I hate when that happens. Yeah,
right. So, like, I'm like, oh crap. So boom, I balloon up to like 10.3 and then bring it back down to 10. And I had the ESA out there, and there's nobody out there. And he said that, oh my gosh, you set off a TCAS alert. Yeah, and they had to maneuver. Here's a phone number. And I called. I'm like, listen, man, I get it. I blew the altitude by 300 feet, and the rate of climb is what sets it off. And I said, I had ESA radar, man. I didn't see nothing. And yeah, the nice thing is in the military is the FAA can't really touch you.
Yeah, they
don't even talk to him. You're not supposed to talk to him.
On file. That's what I was just saying a while ago. Is okay. You can talk to my union rep here.
Correct. Which is what happened. The skipper called me in. He's like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "We're good to go." So
yeah.
But yeah, well, I think a lot of it, dude, like this in this case here, is ATC doesn't understand. But they're trying to be accommodating.
On where you are. Yeah, it depends on where you are. I mean, if in Austin, that would be a place where they are accommodating, and I don't understand the confusion here. So it could be a new controller, it could be somebody that came from somewhere else or whatever.
Right.
But places that get a lot of transient military are usually pretty good.
Yeah,
and they understand. They have their training. I mean, it's just like anything else. I'm not going to blame the controllers.
And people make mistakes.
Yeah, people make mistakes, and. Right. And I think sometimes on the, you don't know what you don't know, especially on the civilian side. You don't understand if all your mindset is I'm used to approaching at 90 knots or 100 knots over the fence, and 200 knots is a big deal, 250 knots are a big deal. Like, it's hard to grasp how fast a fighter is moving relative to everything else. Like, even if they did hear each other, it would have been like a dog watching TV. It's like, initial. What does that mean? I've never dealt with this before. And what is the timing like? Because people see the airplane and they're like, well, he's straight in to land. So, the overhead is just not common.
Well, and the other thing is, thinking back on it, like, I used a Navy term with this civilian controller, and could I have? That just makes sense. But But that's the other thing. It's like, what I learned from that too is like, okay, listen, if you're going into places like Akron, Canada, that probably never saw a Hornet, it's like, if you ask for the carrier, you need to explain it to them, because, dude, they just know what's in the FARs, turbojet.
Yeah. Well, when they hear it, I have explained it to them, and they're like, "That's awesome, dude."
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I didn't. I was in a bit of the short hairs, and I wanted to come in for the carrier for my parents, but. I mean, but stuff happens, right? Miscommunication is like one of the biggest things in any aviation accident. Yeah. I mean, whether it's between crew or.
And if you look back, I mean, I know like Weather Channel or History Channel, one of those channels have the air disasters or whatever, where the F4 hits the airliner. Or, this historically it happens.
Yeah.
And I've had the same thing where your controller will ask you like, "Hey, I need you to slow to 200 knots," and I'm cruising along at 350 and I'm like, unable, that's just not going to happen, dude. No,
right.
Not today. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad nobody got hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, the bigger like problems are the ones where it's airliner v airliner. That's where, because nobody's maneuverable in that case, or some heavier aircraft. A fighter, generally speaking, as long as everybody sees each other.
Well, the other scary thing with airliner is we're all speaking the same language, so the communication should be pretty tight. Yeah. So something like pretty massive must have happened, for anything, because, dude,
70 feet. That's what it was. It was 70 feet.
Was it 70? Yeah, but
for the two airliners, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, you definitely, you're right. That's scary.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we got a couple from the kids at home. I get rid of this banner. Good. Let's see. Auburn alum.
Thanks.
Says the LSU just beat Auburn, by the way. The FAA needs to eliminate age as a requirement for getting your PPL. Leave it up to the CFI to make the judgment. There's a lot of kids that are more mature than their peers.
I don't know about that. There has to be.
So I disagree with that, and the reason I do, I look at race cars, because race cars are because then it becomes pay to play, because the kids that are going to do it at that young age are typically rich kids, and there's nothing wrong with rich kids. I mean, there's nothing. I'm not saying they're bad, but what I am saying is, I think you need some level of maturity to do anything in a high performance vehicle, and when you don't appreciate it necessarily because you don't understand it yet, I think there's some disconnect, and I don't think that enhances aviation, because right now, before the age of 16, you can fly with an instructor. There's nothing that says you can't go fly with an instructor.
Yep.
PPL is now your license to learn, and allowing you to go fly solo and build hours and stuff like that. I think that there's just, and we just finished talking about how 25 is the new 15. Are we really wanting to go younger?
Well, my son's only 5, and he's been riding motorcycles since he was 3. And there's like you're talking about, his understanding of the machine as that grows, like he's a better rider. I think that holds true with cars, airplanes in general. Is 16 the perfect age? I don't know. Maybe 15 is, but I don't know. I mean, it's debatable. I mean, you're right, Auburn. There's some kids that are, that develop faster. I don't know.
Yeah, well, thank you, though. Thanks for the question. James says, I came late tonight, so to speak.
He must be a fighter pilot.
Sorry for the lateness, or for the, so to speak, or both. Sorry if it's already been mentioned. Do we think perhaps that recent conflicts and their portrayal being a potential hit on recruiting? Yeah, I mean, there's some level of, politics and media that is obviously hindering patriotism. I mean,
Mover, think about it, man. When we were kids and grew up, there was no war, right?
So Desert Storm, dude.
Yeah, but that was show up, kick their butt, leave, right? So
Desert Storm, Kosovo. I mean, the 90s were all war.
I don't know.
Thing was war.
I guess I'm a kid from the 80s, but what I'm saying is, like, it wasn't
Libya, the whatever the Iran hostage crisis.
I'm talking about major U.S. involvement. So, like, kids who are 20, math, in their early 20s, like,
Doug, do the math.
Their entire life, it's like, oh, there's this war going on in Afghanistan and Iraq. You know what I'm saying? And I think, I don't know, man. Some a part of me. I mean, I think a lot of the country is tired of.
20 years is a long time to be at war, especially when you don't really have. Well, I mean, when you just
that was a joke.
Stuff, yeah, when you leave all your equipment that somehow manages, like, it kind of leaves a bad taste.
Yeah, it's terrible, right? Because I mean, it's like young kids ask, okay, for 20 years, like, my dad was over there, right, kind of thing.
Lost a leg.
Yeah, my dad lost a leg or an arm, or he's disabled, and then to watch, not only how we pulled out of there, but
we did the same thing in Vietnam, dude. And look at the 80s.
But that was only a couple years. But exactly. But then you ask yourself, is the place any better? Is it? I don't know, man. I'm just asking questions.
And it's a good question, because if you compare the 80s, because Vietnam and Afghanistan, right, the pullout, so to speak, was very similar in that we just left, and what did we have to show for it? But the difference between the 70s into the 80s was the Iran hostage. We had Soviets and the boogeyman, and it was a nuclear threat, and it was us versus the commies, which they use metric. And it was today, the whole world uses metric,
right?
And we're a global society, right? I mean, you can be online talking to somebody in China. Now, is their government bad? Yeah. I mean, but is it the same boogeyman? No, because we're using TikTok. We're using stuff that's made in China. Right. We are a global society now. And so when you're telling these kids, hey, join the military and defend your country, and they're like, from what? I talk to, I use TikTok, and this is, what am I
It's
fighting
valid.
against?
Yeah, it's valid.
And so, it's, I think the globalization has created a world where they're like, for what? I mean, I'm going to go to Afghanistan and go bomb dirt and, get my leg blown off. And what do I have to show for it?
Yeah. Or what do we as a country have to show for it? Right.
Meanwhile, every day in social media and the normal media, you're hearing stories about, there's no American exceptionalism anymore. You're not pushing that narrative. In fact, you're doing everything you can to go America last and not say, America number one, screw everybody else, or whatever country it is. I mean, we've discouraged that for better or worse. So when these kids are like, hey, sign up and sign that blank check up to and including your life to defend a country that you don't really think, you're like, hey, well, I mean, what do we need borders for?
Well, yeah, that's how they were brought up. So in their mind, they're like,
yeah,
what's the?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying when you kind of dig deep into this, you're going, well, I mean, the internet has made it a global society.
Yeah.
So 100%. They're like, well, I might be fighting my friend. Now it's a civil war. So I don't know.
Thanks, James.
We get too deep on this stuff. Marky Mark, what? And Bob, why doesn't the U.S. emphasize super maneuverability like the Russians do? I mean, the Raptor. ACM will always be necessary, so fighters will always need maneuverability and agility. I don't know if I like the word always, because even air power is a relatively new concept over the course of human history.
Well, so I've spoken to a couple Raptor guys, and a lot of them tell me they'd rather have the 500 pounds in gas over the thrust vectoring.
Yeah. Because
there's nothing free in aircraft design, right? So thrust vectoring is a mechanism that adds weight. And, I'll just use the Hornet as an example. That airplane is very, very maneuverable. And if you combine the Hornet's maneuverability with a helmet-mounted sight in 9X, I mean, it's that.
Yeah.
That
yeah. You throw good missiles on mediocre jets, but the thing is countermeasures. Eventually countermeasures counter that, and then you end up in the same situation. He's not wrong, but I don't know about like the Russians do. I mean, the Russians.
With modern. I mean, look at the F-35. I mean, we make fun of it, but it's actually pretty darn maneuverable, even at slow speed, based on the air shows that I've seen.
Yeah, it's like a mix of a Viper and a Hornet, and it's not really. I mean, it's not.
And that's because flight control systems keep getting better, right? This aircraft design keeps getting better. So I'm not saying it's going to be as good as having thrust vectoring for turning, but in an air superiority fighter, the in close fight is just one facet of that. And of course, if you want an uncompromising airplane, it'd be nice to have. But like I said, guys, I'm guys who've flown the Raptor, it's like sometimes I'd rather have the 500 pounds of gas. So
yeah, good point. Zenith says cheers. Thank you, Zenith.
Thank you.
Connor's back. God, Connor, man, if you don't mind me asking, what are your guys' current mile times? Getting a reference for myself.
Oh, geez.
Hold on, I just did this. I just ran on the other day. PT test.
I'm really old. So what do I get, Mover? Like 30 minutes?
You just have to not die.
I think mile and a half for me, I think is around. I think I could probably do it. I'll wait till.
No, he's saying mile time.
Oh, mile.
Yeah, 1 mile. How fast can you run a mile?
I'm about 7.5.
Yeah, I did it in 8 minutes, 8:08.
Yeah.
I guess if I pushed it, I might be do 7.5. But
yeah, but dude, you were going a mile and a half. So if you were just doing a mile, you could have done 7.5.
Yeah, I did it. It was an 8:08 mile for my PT test.
Yeah. Great.
That's all you need at my age.
Now everyone thinks we're fat. Great.
We're just slow. We're not fat. We're slow. I mean, max the push-ups and sit-ups, dude. I mean,
that's true.
I had time to spare. Scenario fulfillment says,
nice.
Thank you. Every time I see you guys, you make me snap out of it and do things I actually need to do. Thank y'all. And I'm currently studying for the ASVAB for 110 GT score. And Gonky figured out your call sign. Oh.
Keep it under wraps.
Tell us. I'm curious if he did or
not.
No,
don't.
Thank you,
the YouTube channel will go.
Well, you can do it in the comments. I just won't repeat it. Max, the one and only. Thank you. I'm really stubborn and fly the Tomcat in a modern player versus player. Right, Douglas? That's what PvP means?
That is correct.
DCS server, DDCS. Any tips for being effective with a plane with low SA and heavily contested combat? It's a lot of Sams. Get out. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Let the seed bubbas take over.
Yeah.
Avoid.
And negotiate.
Avoid, negotiate, kill. Avoid, suppress, defend. I mean, that's typically what you do.
It's one of Mover's books too. You should buy it.
Plexi.
Hey.
I think Mover is getting to the heart of it. The internet has created a lot more nuanced view of global relations in a lot of people's mind.
Yeah, the world's a smaller place because of it. It's a good thing and a bad thing. So.
Well, and dude, I mean, I say this from experience. Like, last time we were talking about the Iranian people, and I'm like, hey, don't blame the government for what the people do.
Yep,
and I got emails and comments like, hey, I am there, and I thank you for saying that.
Yep.
Without the internet, I wouldn't have that. I'd be, sitting here shaking my fist going, America number one, or whatever. Because when you open your aperture, you start to see that it's not the people. The people at the lowest levels, for the most part, they're just trying to get through their lives. They're just trying to, stay out of trouble, get through their day, whatever. It's the douchebags that end up in power that ruin everything for their own personal gain at every level, including in certain squadrons.
And it's all a joke.
That's not a joke. That's true. Zippers forever.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I love that dog, dude. That
alligator. Man, that's a mean looking dog. I mean, like in a athletic kind of way.
Yeah. More athletic than us. The children of active duty aren't joining anymore because their parents' experiences sucked thanks to the decline of field grade leadership. First of all, yes. But it's above field grade. Yeah. It's well above field grade.
Well, dude, it's top to bottom. I mean, even, I've talked to junior enlisted that complained to me about mid-level and enlisted, the middle management on the enlisted side. So it's at all levels. I mean,
we got an article about that if we ever get to it.
I get fired.
Yeah. No, I mean, all right. So Mike says, I think metric might actually cause commerce. Think of where the U.S. has gone since we started using it. Could be.
No comment. But
look at all the socialism that is involved with metrics in the metric system.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, move the decimal, whatever. Real men do math. Okay. I live my life a quarter mile at a time, not 0.025 meters or whatever the hell, half a kilometer, whatever. Again, for legal reasons, this is a joke. And I'm sorry. Please do not come after me again. Adam's back. God damn.
Thanks,
Adam,
man.
dude, thank you. Do you think the day the media broadcasted Shock and Awe campaign live caused a scar in the military? Although right after 9/11, it did show a lot of innocent lives lost in real time. I don't think people connected anything with innocent lives. And I think for the most part, the attempt was infrastructure and military targets. Like, I don't think that there was like, hey, we're bombing hospitals and mosques or whatever during that time. I think it was, hey, we're taking down their infrastructure so we can go and not lose lives on the ground. I don't know, Gonky. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't think it caused a scar in the military, to be honest. I think the media does other things that probably cause scars in the military, but not that though. But I mean, it's valid. It's a valid question.
It is, and it's much deeper than I would have ever thought. I think what causes scars in the military is the loss of trust. I think scandals, Abu Ghraib, stuff like that, where service people did stuff that was counter to what we stand for. You know, you know what I'm talking about, right? The
I
prisoners
did
and stuff.
I
Yeah.
did an entire when I that army stint I went and helped. They stood up an entire command because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I go back to the law enforcement thing, right? You know, 99% of people in the military won't stand for that, right? It's the 1% that make it bad for everybody else. And that puts, you know, especially when you've got a media that is looking, it's a 24-hour news cycle and they're looking for something to fill it. And what fills it? Well, outrage,
Yeah.
right? And so, you know, we're not going to tell you all the good that's done, you know, the hearts and minds, the candy bars, and we're building villages and giving them clean running water for the first time and all that stuff. We're going to show you the atrocities, which are bad. Everybody agrees that this stuff is bad. Everybody agrees that when a cop does something bad, you know, we don't want that cop to be a cop. But you miss out on all the good and the community relations and stuff like that. And it's politicized because it gets ratings.
Well, that's why I say the media does things.
It's agenda. Yeah, it's an agenda.
Yeah, I mean,
but even the media, I mean, they have their purpose. Like, and that's the thing. I don't want to villainize the media because there are good. I mean, they have brought to light things that are like, oh, hey, we probably should know about this, and you know, it's bad. I mean,
well, that's one of
like
the
anything
beauties.
Else.
Well, it's like one of the beauties, like this show, right? So, I mean, like you said earlier, it's because we tell what we think is the truth, and that's the beauty of the internet is you can get there's other sources than just the mainstream media. So,
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
but like I said, like anything else, it has its good and bad. I mean, even the media, you know, they have. It's just. You're inundated sometimes. And Zipper says the U.S. has bought drugs using metric. There you go. You're a commie and a drug runner.
Kilos of crack.
Do you buy kilos of crack, Douglas? Do we purchase crack in kilos? I thought just cocaine
that would be a lot
cocaine.
of crack.
Sorry, sorry, it's just cocaine.
Hypothetically, that would be a lot of crack
in the spoon. You know, I mean, a kilo on a spoon seems like a lot, but I don't know metrics very well. I once did a drug bust that was 0.08 grams, and that's not a lot, apparently.
Is that a bust?
Parker, yeah. We had to take the picture and everything, you know, and for evidence, and my FTO was just laughing at me the whole time. He's like, we're weighing this. You know, it was like 0.08 grams for a $50 ticket. I'm a second-year ROTC student with a PBL, 99 pilot score, 100% fitness assessment. He's faster than most of us. And a 3.7 GPA. Are you just trying to disprove everything we were talking about earlier? What should I be doing to further ensure I get a pilot slot?
Don't get a felony while you're in school.
You know what? Be well-rounded. Use so you're good at everything. Do the leadership stuff. Help get the rest of your bros, boys and girls, to your level. Go run with them. Go push-ups and sit-ups with them. Do what it takes to help them. And cooperate to graduate.
100%. And good luck, man.
Yeah, 100%, dude. You'll be awesome. Thanks, Rick. Yeah. Joe Shovel says, "Thank you for your time." Thank you for joining us on what could be a final Monday. Yossarian Tech says, working in corporate America, I find part of the problem is the people that move to management are the people that play the game, so to speak. And those interested in working don't make leadership. That's the military. You just described the military.
Much. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's. Yeah, we'll get to that article in a minute, but I think it's tough to teach leadership, and I think we've put too much of a focus on academically teaching leadership versus practically teaching leadership.
Well, leadership is generally checks in the box now, right? So
that's what I'm saying. So we have put too much of an emphasis on a management track where we have to go through and hit these wickets and do these schools and all this stuff. But when you do the schools, you're like, what is this? This doesn't teach me how to take care of people.
Right.
So, and we don't do enough of servant leadership. Marky Mark, Bob. Thank you, Mark. Do you all think that the U.S. has the correct approach to fighter design? That's above my pay grade. Should we pursue less expensive, lighter weight, more basic, more agile fighters like the Gripen or the F-20 Tiger Sharp? I would like more jets. I mean, so part of the, I was talking to a friend of mine that is in a position of tracking this stuff, right? And he's always talking about you've got a production problem, you've got a retention problem, you've got a recruitment problem. Like every part of the chain is a problem. But then you've got a problem where you don't have, we used to have 300 and now it's down to 100 and something. You know what I'm saying? Like the squadron makeup is we've contracted. So you've got less places for fighter pilots to go, even if you could produce enough, which that would be alleviated if you had an economical fleet. But do we need that?
Well, man, back to my argument. If you had specialized aircraft, they would be less complicated. I mean, if you're going to build one airplane that can freaking vertically take off, land on ships, and then satisfy an Air Force requirement, that's a complicated machine, and it's a compromised machine, right? So, I forget. One of the comments, I put that clip up on my channel, hey, it's because of cost. Well, I would argue it's actually cheaper to have specialized aircraft and personnel because there's just less waste. I mean, look at the F-35 debacle, man. It's not kumbaya. Everybody took their toys and went their own direction, and they're all doing their own thing because you know what? The missions are different amongst the different branches. So
even within the F-16 community, we had specialization. I mean, we had squadrons that were air-to-air. I mean, we still did all the missions, but you knew who the air-to-air focused squadrons were. You knew who the SEAD focused, the suppression of enemy air defense guys were. You knew who the CAS guys was because that's what you had to have. You had to funnel your way into specialization, and when you didn't, you weren't good at anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, did you guys, okay, let's say you were a purely fighter F-16 squadron. Did you still have to check the little green boxes for oh, okay, yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying what naturally evolves is even when you try to be multi-role, the world demands you to be specialized, right. And you would see squadrons like that.
Right, but because those are missions that need filled, right? Yeah. So
you need experts.
A perfect like the A4, right? That for what market? That's the airplane, right? So things were getting really crazy. McDonnell Douglas came out with this super simple, and it was wildly popular, and it was a good airplane, and they still use it. They still use it today, as Red Air.
Yeah, CAS, Red Air, everything. Garrett says metric equals commies, imperial equals freedom.
Yeah, those not out of our mouth.
Kilo Tango 69. Thank you.
Thank you.
It seems ironic that the F-35 is called the Lightning II, since recent events would indicate that it doesn't seem to be able to fly near any lightning. Do you think that's its Achilles heel? I think it's A.
Right. Well, I mean, as Mover can attest, any fighter in and around lightning can be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just irony. Irony is always ironic. Scouts in the Sky, 9.69 giggity. Nice. Gents, love the honest discussion content. Keep it coming, so to speak. Hello from Northwest Oklahoma. That's awesome.
Nice.
Hey, wait, that's Enid.
Are you
in America?
You UPT?
No, don't dox the poor kid. Hey, man, we got more stuff to talk about.
All right, do it.
The Air Force is in an era of transformation. Douglas, hit it.
I have been struggling with this article, trying to come out with a summary, and I've highlighted a few sections. I'm going to do the best I can. So there's been a historic downturn in recruiting. We knew about that. They're concerned about China simultaneously succeeding, but not doing so by stomping us into the dirt. There's a stability in the Air Force right now. They're hovering around 325,000 members, which is about half what they had during the Cold War, but it's been stable for a while. And they're talking about restructuring the Air Force to have fewer people in the lower ranks. Apparently they've gotten middle heavy. There's a lot of non-coms. They're concerned that it's going to leave deficits in the lower ranks of people who actually get things done. And so they're looking at restructuring the promotion parameters and working on retention at the same time to come up with a force that more fits the needs of the current environment. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, go back up real quick. There's a quote there. You just passed it about, can you communicate? Yep, scroll down.
Right there.
Right there. Yeah, can you communicate? Can you set a strategic plan? Can you make sure that your airmen are ready? That's the correct answer, right? So when we want to evaluate somebody, the correct answer is, are you good at your job? Are you good at helping others do your job? Can you lead people? And are you doing what it takes to educate them to also become leaders? Not, did you do the chili cook-off? Did you do the Christmas party? Put whatever. I mean, Gonky, I mean, this is an article that's specifically about enlisted, the evaluation system, but they even talk about how they had at one point towards the bottom, Doug. They talk about they tried a pilot only track where all you did was fly, and they said they only had 4 people go after it. And I am boggled that is correct. Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand where that came from. Because for me, and I can't imagine anybody else, this must have been active duty where they were like,
well, they only told it to 4 people, so I mean,
yeah, because like that is the biggest complaint, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, reluctant leadership, where you identify people that are good at it, but you're not really going after the people that are, that have to be leaders, that are doing all the stuff and checking all the boxes and stuff like that. Because sometimes those aren't the people you really want in positions of power. I think we need to do a better job of, there you go, right there. Just 2 people applied for the flying only track. It is unclear how widely airmen will embrace the idea. In 2018, the service tried a similar approach with mobility pilots that offered airmen the chance to spend their career in the cockpit or to transition into leadership roles. Just 2 people applied.
But I mean, I never heard about this program. Did you?
No.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Right, exactly. So, it's like, well, we tried it. I'm like, well, it wasn't advertised. So,
yeah, it's like I announced it on this channel and only 2 people applied. Well, yeah, because you're in your echo chamber.
Pretty much.
We've talked about this a lot. Thanks, Doug. We can take that.
Well,
down,
dude, and other services, man, like in England, I believe they just have like flight lieutenants. That's all they do. They fly. They don't promote. They don't do the leadership track. They just literally do a career of flying. And my understanding,
warrant officers. I mean, the Army's does the warrant officer. Where that's pretty much all they do, and the officers do whatever. My argument is not that you need a one or the other track. My argument is that the entire the leadership, the generic leadership assessment is flawed. The fact that a pilot is compared to somebody in a different career field, or and it's not fair for anybody, not just the pilot, but it's not fair for a security forces guy to be compared to a C-17 guy. It's not fair for a logistics readiness officer to be compared to somebody in medical, which depends on what part of medical. But my point being is that we've tried this one size fits all because, everybody's on the list and, we all have to check the boxes and stuff. But I think that has what has made so difficult to retain people because, the perfect example, JPME, Joint Professional Military Education, and a master's degree, right? They go back and forth about, well, you need a master's degree, you don't need a master's degree or whatever. Who cares? A master's degree in basket weaving, just like your undergraduate degree in basket weaving, has zero to do at this point in your profession with that. It is just a discriminator when it should be a metric of and maybe AI can fix this. I mean, maybe AI would eventually be good enough to screen people and actually get indicators of leadership, because right now we do a terrible job of it. We just look at, you go to the board, we go, well, did he get a stratification? He was number one of whatever. Did he get a definite promote over a promote? Like, in what universe is a promote not a promote? Oh no, it's got to be a definite promote. Like, we have these little games we play for promotion, and then we wonder why the people that get promoted are the ones that play games. Newsflash.
Well, I mean, during wartime when it really matters, right? Promotions are based on performance, right? So
Right.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, during periods of extended peace, that test isn't available. So, what starts to happen? All the stuff you just mentioned. I mean, I remember in Chuck Yeager's book, like he'd already like broken the sound barrier. He was the man, and the Air Force is like, you can't continue as a test pilot unless you get a degree. And he's like, what? He's like, I'm Chuck Yeager, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, probably just got us canceled, but he is a famous. Sorry, he's a famous fighter pilot. I know, fighter pilot and World War II combat ace. YouTube. Sorry. Dang it. It's a good story though.
It is, but I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know the answer. My point being is that
I'm not going to tell you I'm a leader either. I don't know the answer.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that if you want leaders of men, gender neutral, you have to identify leadership traits better than you do. And a lot of that becomes from the humble, credible, approachable. You want to find somebody that you want to Spartan, what is your profession? Somebody that can rile up the troops and that they want to follow through the gates of hell, not somebody that spent their off time writing papers.
Yeah, well, do you mind? I mean, the best leaders I ever had were not only were they competent in the airplane, but they did what they thought was right with conviction, and they didn't care about their career.
Exactly. They were the kind of people that took care of their troops, airmen, sailors, whatever, because if you don't take care of your people, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
I mean, so that, to me, that's they're never going to crack this nut as long as they're trying to figure out various ways of, well, if we strat this thing and check this box, as long as we're trying to figure out within the same construct, it's never going to get better, because all we're doing is we're circular. We're just continuing to go, well, okay, well, his EPR or his OPR was bad here. I mean, no matter what anybody says, and I will be the test case for this, it is a one mistake Air Force. They will say it's not, but it is a one mistake Air Force. Even if it's not a mistake, it is a one action or inaction can ruin your career, and there's no recovery.
Well, dude, we used to say in the Navy like 10 years ago, I was actually, you were like, this zero tolerance nonsense, it's got to go. I mean, it's people make mistakes. Like, you can't, I mean, it's,
Anyway, thanks, Doug. But yeah, and then let's see what time. You want to skip to the voice messages now?
Oh boy.
do you want to do that voice message, dude? I don't know. I don't know. I do have.
There's so much cancelability in this episode. I don't know.
Connor says the chili cook-off winners are fuming right now. That is funny, dude. That is
funny.
That is funny.
And I'll eat some chili too, but
T. Wolf Jaeger says, thank you.
Thanks,
oh boy, as an expediter for 6 different fighter mission design series, this hits close to home. We promote people who check all the boxes, not people who take care of the day-to-day. Thanks for addressing it. And dude, I hate that it feels like I get on the soapbox every time we talk about this, but I cannot emphasize, because you've heard of the Dear Boss letters where, some captain or whatever will write the, here's why I quit, kind of thing. I don't want to go to that point. Like, I think that everything is fixable and everything can get better. It's just you have to have leaders. You have to have leaders, not management. And as long as you have management that are afraid of their career and afraid of rocking the boat, and all they want to do is make changes just for the sake of change, just to pad their resumes, leaders don't change things that work. Right? Is that a fair statement? Like if a leader goes, "Hey dude, it's not the way
time for green boots."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's change the PT uniform. Like, who cares? Does this one work? I mean, are we changing it for the better, or are we just changing it for reasons?
What is our actual mission here, and are we working on that?
Right. People first, mission always, or mission first, people always, whichever way you want to do it. But if you're taking care of your people, that's what a leader does, in my opinion. A leader is somebody who makes it easier for the people that actually do the work to get their jobs done. That's it. They are, like the XO, the heads in beds, they're trying to make sure the mission happens by allowing people to do their jobs by removing roadblocks and getting out of their way. You don't need to lead with an iron fist. You don't need to, happy cows make happy milk, man. You cannot just change things and make it harder. And, we got to arbitrarily do these things and then expect people to, number one, work hard for you because they'll do the bare minimum, and two, stick around.
Right.
Hey,
right.
Let's circle back to the first thing. We're in a retention problem. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
These policies have created this.
Yeah. I mean, you could say, hey, you want to see the problem? Just look in the mirror. Right. I mean,
yeah. Take care of your people, man. That's all you, take care of people. Plexi says, what fighter pilot in his right mind is not going to choose the fly only track? You mean I have to focus on flying? What am I missing here?
Well, yeah. And it's so funny, Plexi, because we spent, at least in active duty, it's like, oh man, my next set of orders, how do I finagle this to where I can keep flying? But I got to get the check in the box, I got to go do this thing. I mean, of course, man, you want to say that's the whole reason why we joined.
100%.
Well, serve your country, but that's the job we wanted to do for our country.
Rick says, talk about a great recruiting tool in North Carolina, Cherry Point, the air show, May 11 through 12, 2024. Awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Air shows are good. Cynthia says, hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. 100%. And we are right in the weak men make hard times phase.
Yep.
You got to have a backbone. You got to have, stand for something or you'll fall for anything. I was thinking about that earlier, Gonky. I respect you for that. You definitely walk the walk, especially in the last 2 years when I was thinking about how we flipped the script, how, there was a time when you were the one that was having to go to the Thai restaurant because they wouldn't let you on base. And, and suddenly we flipped that script and now you're my boss.
Right.
And I'm the bastard child. So it works, man. It works.
Gosh, it's such a crazy world when you have crazy leadership, isn't it?
I'll never forget the Thai restaurant, dude.
Oh, I know. Dude, we can.
Thank you, Yosarian. Zero tolerance reminds me of some people in my company who learned if you never do any work, you can never make a mistake. Yeah, and dude,
bad plan.
And that's another thing. I mean, if you look at the law enforcement situation, proactive policing is going by the wayside because you're one step away from it on the nightly news. I mean, it's an interesting world.
Yeah.
Zero tolerance for mistakes equals zero learning opportunities. And that's it for with fighter pilots. I mean, you want a level of cockiness and aggressiveness that you pull back. It's easier to throttle somebody back than it is to push them up.
Dude, I would say military in general. You want leaning forward, aggressive, because that's the kind of person it's going to take to go to war. If you, God forbid, you have to.
Well, it's if you were doing expressions here, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Oh yeah.
Because you want I want the steroid driven Navy SEAL going out. And,
Give him more juice.
Don't want the soy, I don't want that, I mean, I don't, because the mission is to kill people and break their things. It is not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
not
pretty,
to,
I mean, the mission's pretty barbaric, but I mean,
yeah, but that's, I mean, good men.
yeah, zero. I mean,
sleep
zero
peacefully in
tolerance.
their beds because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalf. I mean,
even mistakes like, I totally condone it, but like even like the DUI thing, right? The cops parking outside the enlisted club or the officers club. I mean, dude, a good friend of mine, he's gone now due to cancer, sadly, but he was a CW04, and when he was, I forget what he was, maybe a petty officer, second, third class, whatever. He was at a bar and he got a little sauced, and his divo was getting in his face, and Big John's what we called him. And he just laid him out. I mean, just flattened him. And did he get kicked out? No. Did it slow his career down? He told me, I think it slowed him down like 4 years. But they forgave him because he was an excellent, like, okay, dude, we got to keep you out of the bar. Have your bros take care of you a little better. But he was exceptional at what he did. And, he ended up, he's CW04 in the Navy. There's not a ton of those. And he was, when I knew him, he was at the end of his career. And he was the guy that, like, if I had any problem, I would go down and see him, and he would literally pick up the phone, and he knew who to call, what to say, what to do. And, like, and he maintained that, he didn't take any crap from anybody. And you need guys like that,
yeah.
And if they would have got rid of him back then, like, we would have never had that.
When was this? How long ago? Like in the early 2000s?
Oh no, Big John, he did this in the 80s.
Okay. Because what I was going to say is the irony of this is that the people that had the most chances in general, not this guy, right? But the era of second chances ended with the people who got the second chances. So these people got in a position of power, pulled up the ladder, and said, one mistake. That's all you get.
Oh, yeah.
You're done. We're out.
Yeah.
And
that's because you didn't have the backbone to fight the pressure from the civilian side.
Yeah, the best bosses are the ones that are like, I don't care if I get fired. I'm going to do what's right.
100%.
Follow my sword. David says, fountain. Yeah, that's cool.
That's like a nice Christmas tree.
Yeah. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you. Dylan says nothing.
Thanks, Dylan.
Hi, Dylan. Life. Can you go clip the segment about leadership and post it? Your thoughts ring true in my job. Yeah, we do. I'll try.
Mover, you're going to start speaking, right? Hey, just send them a...
It won't be about leadership. It would just be me complaining on stage. Jag says, I hope that's not a real Jag. That's a NASCAR emblem. Hey, Mover and Gonky, love watching you guys. I have a quick question. How does it feel in the jet when you fire the Vulcan cannon? I don't know about I have shot the Hornet. It's not as bad. In the Viper, all the asbestos and the whatever, the foam.
You can totally smell it, man.
It comes apart, and it like snows in the cockpit.
Really?
Like it rattle. Yeah.
Isn't the gun like?
Yeah, it is. It's over your shoulder, but it rattles it out through the ECS, and you get it poof. When you come out, you get stuff on your flight suit and stuff. On the older jets, I don't know about the newer ones. They probably don't do that.
Yeah, I remember the first time I shot the gun. It was
it's awesome, dude. It's a metallic rattle.
It like if you can hold a pretty gnarly chainsaw between your legs and like hit the throttle, that's kind of what
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Dylan says, speaking of degrees, do either of you guys have MBAs or master's degrees? Was talking to a test pilot a while back, and he said he was kind of forced to get something to get promoted at a certain point.
Yep.
I don't
either.
And I won't. I have no use for one in the civilian world, and I'm not wasting my time with it. That's why I'm going to retire as an 04.
Yeah, same. And I actually have some, I did take some master's classes. I was on that track, but to be honest, I don't see how that academic education would help me be better as a military officer. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Tyler says, just receive the talk from my flight commander today. I'm planning the Christmas party. Flying and mission won't get recognized, but the party will.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Man, I feel for you when one thing that the Air Force does much better is, I think, as a new guy, they let you study. They put you in the vault, like as a fighter pilot, it's like, go study, be a fighter. For a Navy guy, you show up, you're the new guy, you get all the jobs. And I remember being swamped with parties, and my training pulled me aside and said, dude, I get it.
Well, that's an Air Force guy. That guy was an Air Force guy.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't matter for Air Force or Navy. My training pulled me aside and said, listen, the taxpayers are paying you to be a fighter pilot, so that's what you need to focus on. He's like, and I was like, you're right, dude. So
I'll say this though, use it as a lesson. Grow where you're planted.
Get help.
Sometimes you're not gonna get jobs that you think are worthwhile.
That's true.
But if you make the best of them, sometimes you're gonna learn something. You'll learn something, and it'll apply to something else.
Yeah, what I learned was to, in my case, the command master chief. He ended up helping me out a lot. So get some help, and your primary job is flying. But like Mover said, do a good job.
Yeah. Jag says that's his initials. All right, Gonky. So, command decision. We'll save the voice messages for next time because they're scary.
Yeah, they are. They're fun.
I'd like to. Yeah, we've already said enough in this one episode to get canceled about thrice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the mental health minute. Today's mental health minute it's a little bit different. We usually do fighter-ish stuff from the briefing guides, but forgiveness is something that when I was dealing with the T-38 stuff and going through all that in 2021, had a lot of stress. One of the things I learned was forgiveness. And in this context, I don't mean forgiving other people, although that's a good thing. I mean, the quickest way to age 40 years and to be miserable is to be bitter and to, hold grudges against people and stuff like that. I struggle with it every day. I still struggle with it today. A lot of people I feel like have done wrong by me, and I struggle with it. But what I'm talking about today, and I think with mental health, is forgiving yourself and allowing yourself to make the mistake and then own the mistake and then forgive yourself for the whole process, and then finding what you've learned through that. And throughout my career, I brought up the example before. When I was in the B course, right, I was approached by one of the wing commanders to go fly the F-22. And I was actually at my F-16 graduation, and, the F-22 program was brand new in the Air Force Reserve, and they didn't have a B course for it yet. So it was like, hey, you need to get, I think it was 200 or 300 hours, and you're going to come fly the F-22 for us. We want you there. And I was identified, and I was excited about that. And through choices that I made, there was a female fighter pilot that I started dating, and that changed my career path because, the location and everything, it just didn't work out with the squadron or with us. And that ended that. And for a long time, I was angry at myself for that. And I can name countless other things where I was angry at myself for allowing opportunities to go by the wayside. And the path forward, because when it all builds up, it manifests itself into anxiety, anger, depression, whatever it's going to be, they always have a root cause. And when you go back and look at your career and you're like, man, I screwed up, I shouldn't have done that. Or man, if I'd only done this, I would have ended up in this place. You have to be able to go back and forgive yourself and go, you know what? I made a mistake. I didn't do the right thing. I didn't do the right thing that put me in the right position, but I'm going to accept that now. And I'm going to learn from it now. And I'm going to forgive myself and say it's okay. And the exercise I did, through this process of trying to get, healing. And it's not just this one thing. I'm talking everything, but you write a letter to yourself and you say, here's what you did, here's what happened, and guess what? I'm okay with it now. I forgive you, yourself. And what that allows you to do is just let go, because that's ultimately what you're trying to do, because every experience makes us who we are. And even if it's not what we think is the best experience, at some point we have to go, okay, it's not what I wanted. It's not what was standard. It's not what other people would have done, but it made me who I am today. And it will give me opportunities in the future because of who I am now, not who I was. And who I am now is shaped by the past. However, future me is a whole new world, and I can be whatever I want to be, knowing that and knowing what kind of person I am today. So I think forgiving yourself is a good step to letting go and not holding bitterness inside, which is very tough to do because we always want vengeance and we always want justice. And sometimes those things just don't happen. But it's good to be able to forgive yourself and others and let go.
Yeah, man. That's all. That's all that I don't have a ton to add. I'm not. I know I sound
Gonky
like
has never been better.
No, I have. I don't want to sound. I'm not. I've mentioned. I'm a Christian, and forgiveness is a very large part of Christianity, right? So, at the church I go to, our pastor, he's really good about, hey, every day you got to wake up basically and forgive yourself, because we're not perfect, right? We make mistakes big and small, whether you're a Christian, some of these are like, sin kind of stuff, but in just everyday life, people aren't perfect. And if you just focus and dwell on everything that went wrong, your life's going to go wrong, because you tend to go where you're focused, right? So forgiving yourself and even forgiving others, that's a hard one. That's a hard one for me, because, if somebody does something to me that I don't like, I'm like, man, to me, it's like a no brainer. Why would you do something like that? We won't get the details, but like with your scenario, Mover, I'm like, I don't understand, why is what's happening to you, right? And when it was happening to me, right? Like you mentioned it earlier, a couple of years ago. And those up until just recently, because I left that unit, but I still had to work with those people that were literally trying to ruin me, right? And it's like I had to forgive them, and I didn't want to, but at the end of the day, you can't let it eat you alive, man. You forgive, you learn from it, and you move on. And that's with yourself and with others. And that's like I said, that is a huge part of, at least with like the things like when I'm reading the Bible and stuff, like those are the things that I key in on, because I think when you do forgive, it puts you at peace, man. It really does. And it allows you to enjoy the moment and to think about the future and how, what you're going to do in a positive light. And by learning from it, I think it just makes you better. Right. So
it's the debrief. Yeah. It's the debrief.
Yeah.
You have to, you're basically, and we do that in flying. We just don't do it in life. We go to a debrief and it's not personal.
No.
It's I did this, I should have done this, and therefore I will then do this next time. But when we come to our personal lives, we don't debrief like that. We go, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I hate myself. You get into the self-loathing, you get into that spiral of, oh, if I'd have just done this, life would be so much better. Life wouldn't suck. I've screwed up. It's over. And on that note, again, I will make my normal pitch. If stuff's building up, go talk to somebody. They will help you get through this stuff. Don't make this. It seems like a long-term problem, but I guarantee you there's a way through it. The way through it is by talking, using your wingman, your buddy, your squadron mate, counselors, professional help. Even if you have to go to the emergency room, reach out. I think I just read an article that it's, check on a buddy, the whole thing that push is starting out. Check on your buddy, help them realize that it's okay. Douglas?
I'm going to do my usual routine. You guys nailed it. At least one of you must have had an awesome psychology professor. I think
class.
I think the learning from it part is something that I would want to go back and emphasize again, though. But it's not, you don't want to come off completely. I guess you do want to come off completely guiltless, but not completely without.
Don't forget, forgive, but don't forget. I mean,
absolutely, because and you get on top of it early, because I'm a little older than you guys, and I can tell you you're going to keep making mistakes, and until you get used to it and figure out how to deal with it, it's just going to keep building up, and at some point for some people it gets to be too much, and you don't want that.
Yep.
That is a good topic. Remind me about next week. We'll do that's its own topic, about allow yourself to make mistakes.
Yeah,
because
we need a Discord channel for notes for next week. That's how I keep track of stuff now.
Yeah, but I'm serious though. Allowing yourself to make mistakes goes hand in hand with this, because if you're afraid to make mistakes, you won't ever learn, and you'll be so worried. I mean, I did this. I'll tell this when we talk about it. But when I was an intro to fighter fundamentals, I showed up. I was, I'd never busted a ride. I'd never failed a ride, and I was so paranoid that I was gonna pop that cherry, do that first one, that I ended up doing 2 or 3 of them. And I thought I was gonna wash out. We went from one extreme to the other because you're in your head, not allowing yourself to make mistakes.
Yeah, and if you're going to be a high achiever, you're going to have to take those risks.
Right, you'll never go anywhere if you don't take those chances.
We'll make
it. All right. Yeah, well, note to ourselves. We've got some chats, and then we'll wrap this up. Wretched Rob says, "New mantra: ask for forgiveness, then make them tell you no." Yeah. Well, there used to be a saying in the old fighter world that it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. I would say in today's Air Force, neither of those matter.
No.
Whether you have permission or ask for forgiveness.
Now it's thought crime.
Yeah.
You thought about
intent. Yeah. If you intended,
you
might have a problem. Saf Broface Virtus. Nice. 2 officers. How would I get a fellow midshipman I have to stop being such a lazy ass? We want to code hypothetically. For legal reasons. This is a joke. Well, first of all, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Unless there's some kinder, gentler version of that I don't know about. But Gonky, what do you think? I mean, dude, that is leadership. I mean, you have to you either have the carrot or the stick, right? You either give them the incentive to do the right thing, and that's the carrot, or you give them the disincentive, the opposite, whatever, the punishment with the stick.
He's a midshipman. So I confront him, be like, dude, why are you here? And then at the end of the day, you can lead the horse to water, you can't make it drink, right? So I mean, code red, hypothetically, probably not the best thing to do. It could motivate him, but not the right kind of way, right?
We're not advocating.
Don't do that. Don't do that. What I would just, I would just ask him, why are you here? What do you want to do? Well, if he says I want to be a fighter pilot or a Navy SEAL, dude, get off your butt and make it happen, right? Yeah. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have this throughout your entire career. This will neither be the first nor last time you have that. So I would also say, realize that everything you do early in training, you may be wanting forgiveness for yourself later on. Right. Because this dude may be a shitbag now, but he could be your best friend wingman in combat later. People change, people grow. You have to help them.
And another thing I'll say is, my favorite leaders I've had. Well, it inspired me to be like them, right? Because in plain view was leadership styles that I thought were terrible. Yeah. And so, just by being, a leaning forward fellow midshipman, could be all it takes, really,
Yeah. Thanks for that. Good luck. We're all counting on you. Aaron says, anger and bitterness, and thank you, Aaron, makes you smaller, while forgiveness forces you to grow beyond what you were. I appreciate all you guys. Dude, it sucks being the bigger person sucks. It's not like there's no like this is easy. But
at the end,
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's totally worth it, and you come like long term, it's worth it. But while you're taking the high road, like Mover said, it's poo poo, and you don't have a lot of friends, kind of thing. But long term, it's always the best way to go.
Yeah,
in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Unless they kill your dog and then you go John Wick. Totally allowed. As many movies as it takes. You can kill everybody.
That's true.
Fine.
And that's a joke. We don't.
Yeah, don't kill anybody, please.
Yeah, or the dogs.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Laura. Another great mental health minute.
Good night.
And that is it. Oh, hey. So Gonky's internet. Gonky, your internet's been great, but it transferred to Shanghai. And so Shanghai's awesome, man. He's such a good, so enthusiastic. Yeah. He's such a good people. But so he tried his new podcast last week, right after we did ours, and his internet like crashed. He didn't even get to do it. So I'm pretty sure Warthog Wednesday, 8 to 10.
That's right. 8 to 10. That's 8, right. 10. Oklahoma time on his channel.
If you go to my community post, you'll see that I got that. So anyway, Gonky, closing thoughts.
Oh man, covered a lot, said a lot of things in practice. Hopefully we're not fired. But yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
Douglas?
I have nothing to add.
Thanks, man.
Well, I hope we'll see you Monday, maybe. Gonky?
Of course we will.
We'll find out.
Nope. We'll see you Monday.
We'll see. We'll see.
For sure.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.
Have a good night.